Hi, welcome back to the Building AI Agent Products webinar series, a four-part series where we move beyond the foundational concepts of AI agents to learn how to implement them successfully in your products. This is the fourth part of the series, monetization, growth, and scaling. Let's get started. We've reached the final session of our four-part series. If you've been following along, you've developed frameworks to identify opportunities, design human-agent collaborations, and navigate the complexities of managing AI development projects. Today, we tackle one of the hardest challenges of all, turning your working AI agent into a sustainable business that can scale effectively. Here's the thing, even the most sophisticated AI agent will fail if you cannot solve the fundamental business challenges. How do you price a service when your costs vary dramatically based on how users interact with it? How do you drive adoption when you're asking people to trust an autonomous system with real decisions? How do you scale when traditional software scaling approaches simply don't apply? This is not theoretical. They're actual challenges that determine if your AI agent becomes a product success or just an interesting prototype that never finds its market. Before we get to that, though, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Elio Damaggio, and I've been building products in cloud, IoT, data, and AI for the last 15 years, all of them in Microsoft and AWS, where I'm currently head of product in the agentic co-transformation space. I have a strong tech background, holding a PhD in computer science and a past life as a software developer. I authored a few patents and an RFC standard for the web push protocol. You can reach me through my LinkedIn page here down on this page. Also, this presentation only reports my own opinion and is not related to my current or former employers. Let's start with what we're accomplishing today. Our goal is to create actionable frameworks that transform your AI agent from a working prototype into a sustainable product. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll work through 5 sections that addresses the challenges that you face. In section 1, business models and pricing, we'll look at the economic reality of AI agents. You'll learn how to adapt pricing when LLM costs are so variable, how to ensure that your pricing model aligns value with cost. We'll also explore how edge deployments can open entirely new business model possibilities. Section 2, adoption and trust building, addresses the human side of the equation. We'll introduce the concept of progressive autonomy that helps users transition from controlling tools to collaborating with agents. This is related to change management in the sense that we have to facilitate a fundamental shift in how people think about work. In section 3, operations and performance management, we dive into the operational realities. How do you monitor performance when every interaction is different? How do you scale when resource consumption is unpredictable? We'll also explore multi-agent orchestration because the real opportunity often lies in coordinating specialized agents rather than building one agent that does everything. Section 4, market strategy and compliance, zooms out at the ecosystem level. We'll look at the regulatory landscape and discuss how to build competitive moats when the pace of innovation is so quick. Finally, in the last section, we'll bring everything together with a concrete 90-day roadmap. Let's start from business model and pricing. How to align cost and value when LLM variants break traditional SaaS pricing. What is the fundamental economic problem? Traditional software has predictable costs. You know what it costs to serve each additional user, you can calculate margins, you can forecast expenses. With AI agents, you don't have this predictability. A customer service agent handling a single password reset might cost pennies. The same agent working through a complex technical issue could cost dollars. The variance isn't marginal, it's orders of magnitude. But the challenge goes deeper than just cost variability. The value your agent delivers also varies dramatically. Consider a legal document analysis agent. One firm uses it for basic contract review, valuable but limited. Another firm leverages the same agent for more complex strategy, extracting insights that would take teams of lawyers weeks to uncover. Similar products, but completely different value proposition. This disconnect between value, cost, and price is the core challenge that you need to solve. How can we create pricing models that embrace rather than fight the unique characteristics of AI? Here's the thing, not every agent can align costs to customer outcomes. When you can do that, that's great. Value-based pricing shields your customer from cost uncertainty while letting you capture efficiency improvements. You charge your customer issue resolved, documents processed, deals influenced, real business outcomes. Let me show you how this can play out. For a sales intelligent agent, you can create clear value tiers. Basic CRM integration gets a flat monthly fee. Deep research on a specific prospect, That's a premium task with clear values so you can charge accordingly. This hybrid approach provides cost predictability for routine operations while maintaining flexibility for high value activities. That alignment works because the value is measurable and consistent. But what if you're building a more general purpose agent? What if the same agent helps one customer draft emails and another solve complex strategic problems? The value variance is massive. You can predict it upfront. This is where you can rely on token budget systems. Give users a monthly allocation they can spend as needed, similar to cloud computing credits but designed for AI interactions. It's less predictable for customers, but it's honest about the reality of variable value. There's also critical insights that most teams miss. Your pricing model should encourage the behaviors that make your agent better. Classic example, adding context. When users provide more context, your agent performs better and costs less to run because it often needs less interaction to complete a task successfully. However, a simple alignment with costs would have you charge extra for the extra context. That's backwards. Try to encourage additional context with no extra cost or even incentives. They get better results and lower prices, you get higher margins, and satisfaction goes up across the board. Your pricing model is also a product feature, not just a business decision. It needs to align incentives, manage risk, and create value for both you and your customers. Before we move on from pricing, let us look at Edge. Edge deployment isn't just a technical architecture decision, it's a business model enabler that can fundamentally change your market opportunity. When you process data locally instead of sending it to the cloud, you eliminate variable API costs. You convert unpredictable operational expenses into predictable licensing or hardware costs. It's not just incremental improvement, it's sometimes transformative for certain use cases. Let's look at the manufacturing quality control system. A cloud-based approach might cost 1,000 monthly in API fees for continuous image analysis. Some manufacturers simply can't justify that expense. But an edge-based agent running on local hardware, now we're talking about a one-time hardware investment plus software licensing. Suddenly, your addressable market expands. Edge deployment also enables new pricing strategies. You can offer equipment as a service models where the AI capability comes bundled with specialized hardware. You can also implement freemium models where basic edge processing is free with cloud features as the upgrade path. Think about Edge strategically, not only from the technical feasibility standpoint. Can it unlock market segments or pricing models? With your pricing model in place, let us look at adoption, the human side of growth. Traditional change management assumes that you're swapping one tool or process for another. AI agents require something fundamentally different. You're asking users to shift from a control mindset where they direct every action to a collaboration mindset where they work with an autonomous partner. The psychological transition is often harder than any technical challenge that you face. The key to adoption strategies is to build trust progressively. We talked about this in part 2. Here we see how those design principles applies to adoption. Start with shadow deployments where the agent operates alongside existing processes, demonstrating value without requiring immediate trust. Users can see what the agent would do without the risk. Make sure that you design transparency into every interaction. Show not just what the agent does, but why. When users understand the reasoning, they're more likely to trust the decisions. Create clear escalation paths that gives user an escape hatch when they need it. This isn't about limiting the agent, it's about giving users confidence that they remain in control when it matters. Finally, create feedback loop and user rewards based on human plus AI achievements. This reinforces the partnership model rather than the replacement fear that holds back adoption. This way to introduce progressive autonomy provides structure for increasing agent independence as the trust grows. Like training wheels that come off gradually rather than all at once. This isn't about limiting your agent's capabilities, it's about meeting users where they are and move from there. Here's how you can proceed. Stage 1 is observation and recommendation. The agent watches workflows, suggests improvements, but takes no autonomous actions. Users can evaluate judgment without risk. Stage 2 introduces guided automation for routine tasks. The agent handles well-defined processes but requests confirmations for any deviations. Stage 3 enables conditional autonomy. The agent operates independently with parameters but escalates edge cases. Stage 4 achieves supervised autonomy. The agent handles complete workflows, provides summaries, and only requests input for strategic decisions. The final stage is true collaborative partnership where human and agent work as peers, each leveraging unique strength. It's critical that progression through these stages must be user-controlled and reversible. Some organizations will race through all 5 stages in months, others might stay at stage 3 indefinitely. Do not treat this thing as failures because it is business dependent. You have to find the right balance for each specific context. Assuming you introduce your agent in a real world context, either your own company or a customer, how do you monitor performance when every interaction is different? How do you scale when resource consumption is unpredictable? Is there space for multiple agents in the same context, and how do you handle it? We talked about measures in our previous sessions. There, the goal was to build the right products and do it continuously. We briefly mentioned continuous experimentation as we introduced the need to measure at the technical, behavioral, but also qualitative level. Now, we put this in context and prioritize the various layers of metrics that you need in your production system. Clearly, the traditional software metrics, uptime, response time, and error rates, tell you almost nothing useful about AI agent performance. If you think about it, your agent can fail your customer even when no internal server error is returned. Effective monitoring for AI agents requires multiple layers of metrics to capture different aspects of performance. Let's start with the task performance. Track the task completion accuracy, but also measure reasoning quality and user satisfaction. Then make sure to monitor not just whether the agent completed a task, but how efficiently it did it. Token consumptions, API calls, time to completion, this is all relative to task complexity. Implement outcome-based metrics that connect agent actions to business results. Did the customer satisfaction improve? Did the deal velocity increase? Did operational costs decrease? These are metrics that are really important for your customers or your own business. Build a confidence calibration system where the agent self-assesses its response. This helps identify areas of uncertainty before they become problems. Finally, create feedback loops that capture both explicit rating and implicit signals, like the self-assessment one. Edit rates, escalation frequency, adoption pattern. It's really important that you start thinking about this from the get-go. You will not have all of these metrics right away, but make sure to build the competence to gather all of them without trying to fit necessarily into existing SaaS metrics. The goal is to guide continuous improvement. What happens then when you are being successful and your agent is getting a lot of usage? Scaling traditional software is largely an infrastructure challenge. Add more servers, optimize databases, implement caching. Scaling AI agents is fundamentally different. Resource consumption doesn't necessarily scale linearly with users. It scales with task complexity. A handful of users asking complex questions can consume more resources than thousands making simple queries. You cannot capacity plan when you don't know what your user will ask. The challenge compounds as you scale. Quality consistency becomes harder to maintain as agents encounter edge cases a lot more often that were not present in smaller deployments. Knowledge management explodes in complexity as agent needs access to a growing amount of context and history. When multiple agents and instances need to work together, coordination also becomes critical. A new creative use case for your agent can spike the costs overnight. To be ready, you need to design for this reality. Build systems that dynamically allocate resources based on task priority and complexity. Implement intelligent caching and knowledge sharing to avoid redundant processing. Create circuit breakers that prevent runaway costs from infinite loops or adversarial usage. Most importantly, you have to design for graceful degradation. When resources are constrained, your agent should reduce capabilities intelligently rather than failing completely. As your AI agent product matures, the real opportunity often is not about optimizing a single agent, but is orchestrating multiple specialized agents that work together. This isn't just about scale, it's about capability. A team of specialized agents can handle complexity that would overwhelm any single agent, no matter how sophisticated. But how do we do that? Here are some principles to consider. Starts with clear role definition. Each agent needs distinct capabilities and responsibilities. Overlap creates confusion and conflict. Implement communication protocols that allow agents to share context and request assistance without creating bottlenecks. Clearly, create circuit breakers with human in the loop in case these things break down. Think about hierarchical structures where coordinator agents manage specialists, similar to human organizations but adapted for AI capabilities. Create shared memory systems so agents can build on each other's works without duplicating effort. Finally, experiment with more dynamic models. Consider marketplace models where agents compete or collaborate based on task requirements and performance history. The challenge is balancing autonomy with coordination. Agents need independence to work efficiently, but their collective effort must serve the overall goal. Again, this is an ongoing optimization as your agent ecosystem evolves. Here are some considerations that zoom out to the ecosystem level. How do we handle evolving regulation? How do we build competitive moats when the pace of innovation is so fast? Let's start with regulation. The landscape for AI agents is evolving rapidly, and it's not just about data protection anymore. Regulators are asking hard questions about decision transparency, algorithmic bias, and accountability for autonomous actions. Different industries and geographies have different requirements, and what's acceptable today may be regulated tomorrow. One way to edge against this is to build explainability into your architecture from day one. You need clear audit trails for agent decisions and the reasoning behind them. This isn't just for compliance, it's also for trust. You need to implement bias detection that goes beyond demographic fairness. You have to examine all systemic patterns in decision making. You want to design accountability frameworks that clearly delineate when agents make autonomous decisions versus when humans retain control. Your terms of service need to reflect these boundaries explicitly. Industry-specific requirements add another layer. Healthcare needs clinical validation, financial service require decision documentation, hiring system must demonstrate fairness. You cannot treat compliance just as a checkbox exercise. Create ethics review processes that evaluate not just what your agent can do, but what it should do. Consider long-term societal impacts alongside immediate business value. We talked about these aspects in the design sessions in part 2 and 3. The companies that get this right won't just avoid regulatory problems, you will also build trust that is required not only for adoption, but also to create competitive advantage. Let's look at the other side of the wider market, your competitors and suppliers. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Amazing capabilities that differentiates your agent today may be a commodity in a few months. The pace of AI development means that technical advantages evaporate quickly. Building sustainable competitive advantage requires thinking beyond model capabilities to the complete system that you're creating. You can look at data modes. Every interaction with your agent generates data that can improve performance in ways general models cannot match. Build deep integrations with critical business systems. This creates switching costs and enable capabilities that standalone agents cannot deliver. Design specialized interfaces optimized for specific workflows rather than relying on generic chat interfaces. Your UX can be a differentiator even when the underlying capabilities can be commoditized. Create network effects where value increases with adoption, agents that learn from aggregate patterns or enable collaborations between users. Finally, focus on vertical expertise, where domain knowledge and regulatory understanding matter as much as raw AI capabilities. The key is identifying the dimensions of value that compounds over time. What was true for traditional software is even more true for AI. The technical advantages are temporary, system advantages can be permanent. We have been talking about this aspect over and over. Continuous improvement is key. What we're uncovering here, though, is how the speed of this improvement requires every agent provider to embrace all techniques for achieving this velocity. It used to be possible to keep software relatively stable between releases. With AI agents, you can experience dramatic capability improvements overnight when the underlying models update. This isn't a bug, it's a feature if you architect for it correctly. You have to design your agent infrastructure to absorb these improvements gracefully, becoming more valuable over time rather than requiring constant re-architecture. This will affect only your execution speed and also the adoption from your customers. Design abstraction layers that separate business logic from model implementations. When better model becomes available, you can upgrade without disrupting user workflows. Build evaluation frameworks that assess new capabilities and automatically incorporate improvements that meet quality thresholds. Create feature flag systems for gradual rollouts to specific user segments. Not everyone wants bleeding edge capabilities on day one, and change management is hard. Implement versioning strategies that give user control over when to adopt new capabilities. Some users prioritize system stability, others want the latest features immediately. You have to respect both ways. Develop feedback systems that capture not just current performance, but potential opportunities for new capabilities. It is very important to communicate your evolution strategy clearly, as we have seen in the rollout of major AI models and products recently. Help customers understand that they're investing in a platform that will grow more capable over time, not just a point solution that will become obsolete and will need a big legacy upgrade. Okay, now let us bring everything together with a concrete 90-day roadmap. Let's be clear about where you are. You've already identified your opportunity, you designed a UX, you built a prototype that demonstrates value. The topics we cover today aren't about starting from scratch. They're about taking what you've built and turning it into a sustainable business. Your next 90 days are about going from a validated concept to market. As most PMs know, launching is not the end of your product, so don't wait for perfection. Perfect is the enemy of shit. While you're polishing that last feature, adding one more capability, perfecting the edge cases, your competitor is shipping their 60% solution and capturing your market. By the time you ship your 95% perfect product, the market has already chosen your competitor that's been improving for months. Let us look at a practical roadmap to launch. Days 1 to 30, month 1. Lock down your business foundation. You've tested pricing concept. Now commit. Finalize whether you're going outcome-based or token-based. Set up the actual billing infrastructure, convert those prototype users into paying pilots, design their progressive autonomy journey, starting with stages 1 and 2. Don't overthink this. The market will tell you what needs adjusting. Days 31 to 60, month 2. Build the systems that let you scale. Your prototype worked for 10 users. Now prepare for hundreds or thousands, depending on your target. Implement production monitoring that actually tells you what's happening. Set up quality assurances that catches problems before users do. Get your compliance framework operational. Not perfect, operational. Document your audit trails, finalize your terms of service, handle the industry-specific requirements. This isn't exciting work, but it's what separates products from prototypes. Day 61 to 90, month 3. Enter the market for real. Choose your launch strategy, a controlled pilot with targeted users by segments or other. Then focus on learning fast. Daily metrics review, weekly user interviews, ship improvements every single sprint. Real users will teach you more in 1 week than 6 months of planning ever could. Like for all other products, ship at 80%, iterate fast. As we close this series, I want to thank you for listening to the whole thing, and I hope that you found interesting points to apply in your own projects. I also want you to understand something important. Building AI agent product isn't just another technology trend. It's a fundamental shift in how us humans and machines collaborate to create value. We looked at frameworks and strategies that can position you to lead this transformation in your industry. The journey from understanding AI agents to successfully scaling them is challenging. There is skepticism from users who fear replacement. You have technical challenges that don't have clear solutions. You have to navigate evolving requirements and regulations. But we're also at the forefront of a new form of human-computer interaction, creating business models that didn't exist before and solving problems that were previously intractable. We're still creating this discipline. Think software engineering in the 60s. The guidelines and topic that we've covered are tools to guide your thinking. We did not really have rigid rules to follow, and they will change. Every AI agent product exists in a unique context. Use these frameworks as a starting point, but trust your judgment and user feedback to guide specific decisions. The future of this technology is being written right now, and we have the opportunity to be one of the authors. Thank you so much. I really want to thank you for joining me in this series, and I look forward for your ideas and experiences. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you feel like it. Thanks again.